Chosen one. Be still for a moment. Heaven has orchestrated this pause so you can finally understand what has been happening all along. Nothing that broke you was random. Every delay, every disappointment, every silent night was part of a divine evaluation. You have been tested not for punishment, but for promotion. While you were questioning why, heaven was measuring how you responded, how you loved, how you stayed. The trials were never about what you could do, but about who you would become. You thought God was absent, yet He was closer than your breath, watching how your heart reacted when the world misunderstood you. When you had every reason to curse the darkness but still chose to bless the name of the Lord, that was the moment heaven took note. When you kept showing kindness after betrayal, when you stayed humble in seasons of lack, when you refused to speak evil though others slandered you, those were your hidden victories. The unseen realm recorded what no one on earth applauded. God was not testing your strength, He was revealing your heart. Every act of integrity, when no one was watching, echoed louder in heaven than any public achievement. You thought the test was about survival, but it was about revelation. Heaven wanted to see if your devotion was built on gifts or on genuine love. You passed because you loved without proof, obeyed without reward, and trusted without explanation. Heaven speaks through the words of Samuel. In the first book, chapter 16, verse 7, people look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. That verse is not theory, it is the very script of your life. Others saw your mistakes, but God saw your motives. Others saw your delays, but God saw your devotion. The Lord has examined your motives and found them pure, and now He is preparing to reward you openly for what you did secretly. You are entering a season where the hidden faithfulness of your private life will produce public favor. You did not realize it, but every night you cried in silence was an offering. Every time you chose peace over revenge, it became a fragrance rising before the throne. Every seed of humility you planted in the soil of misunderstanding is about to bloom in the garden of vindication. The test was never meant to destroy you. It was designed to display you. Now, the divine report has been written, approved, faithful, genuine. Listen carefully. God is impressed, not because you were flawless, but because you were faithful. You refused to let pain corrupt your purpose. You walked through valleys of confusion, but never abandoned your calling. The fire you faced was not meant to consume you, but to confirm you. Heaven now announces that your heart has passed inspection. Chosen one. Do you understand what that means? It means you are trusted with more. God refines before He releases. You are being entrusted with influence because your heart has proven loyal. The very storms that tried to break you only polished your crown. You have been faithful in obscurity. Now you will be elevated in visibility. There were moments when you thought you failed, when your prayers felt unanswered, when your efforts went unnoticed, when the doors you knocked on never opened. But what you didn't see was that heaven was grading not your results, but your response. And you, chosen one, responded with surrender. You said, "Even if he slays me, yet will I trust him." That statement alone shook the realms of darkness, for it proved that your worship was real. The heavens declare, you have graduated from the classroom of endurance. The tests you endured are now testimonies. The silence that once frustrated you has become proof that you can hear God even when He whispers. You were never forgotten. You were being forged. What looked like isolation was divine incubation. And now, the time of revealing begins. So lift your head, chosen one. Wipe your tears. The same eyes that saw you endure will soon see you emerge. The same God who hid you for a season is about to highlight you for His glory. This is not the end of your testing, it is the beginning of your testimony. Heaven is impressed with your heart, and soon the earth will see the evidence of that approval. If this message stirs your spirit, type 444 inches, the comments as a sign that you receive heaven's confirmation. Then like, share, and subscribe, so that other chosen hearts may also awaken to their divine approval. You have passed the test. Your heart has been seen. Your season of recognition has begun. You didn't realize it then, but the unseen battles you fought were never wasted. Every tear that fell in secret became a testimony written in the invisible archives of heaven. Every time you chose to forgive instead of retaliate, angels recorded your obedience. You thought no one noticed your quiet endurance, but heaven never missed a moment. The test was not about what you could gain, it was about what you could endure without losing love. When you were betrayed, heaven was watching. When you sat alone in rooms that once overflowed with people, heaven was near. When you prayed and heard no answer, heaven still leaned close. The silence was not absence, it was observation. God was not ignoring you, He was studying your reaction, weighing your motives, refining your intentions. The way you responded in those unseen moments told heaven who you truly were. You didn't need applause to stay kind. You didn't need recognition to remain faithful. That's what made you different. Others praised loudly, but their devotion was shallow. You served quietly, but your heart was deep. Heaven noticed. The eyes of the Lord move to and fro across the earth, seeking those whose hearts are fully devoted. And when they found yours, they stopped searching. We read in the first letter of Peter, chapter 1, verse 7, "These trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold." That scripture was written for moments like yours. Every trial you faced was proof of genuine faith. The pressure did not destroy you, it revealed the treasure inside you. You came out of the fire, not smelling of smoke, but shining with refinement. God has been molding your soul into something unshakable, preparing you for what others are not yet ready to carry. There were nights when you couldn't sleep because your soul carried more than words could express. You bore burdens others didn't understand. Yet you never turned bitter. Instead of shouting at heaven, you whispered gratitude in the dark. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you said, "Use me." That shift, small but sacred, was what moved heaven. The tests that others saw as curses became the very ground on which your faith was proven genuine. The hidden battles you fought were not punishments, they were permissions. Each hardship authorized your next level of authority. The unseen victories became the foundation of visible favor. You were not losing when people walked away, you were being positioned. The Lord allowed rejection to teach you recognition, so you could distinguish real connection from counterfeit company. You were not being denied, you were being defined. And now, the records in heaven bear witness. You were faithful when no one saw you. You stood when others fell. That is why you are being trusted with greater things. You were examined, not by people, but by God Himself. And your endurance became your evidence. You wondered why others who seemed careless prospered while you struggled to stay afloat. But heaven measures differently. The currency of the kingdom is character, not comfort. Those who chase favor without faith crumble under pressure. But you chosen one, you were trained to stand when everything else shakes. You know what it means to walk through fire without letting it define you. Each battle you survived expanded your spirit's capacity to carry divine presence. Every time you resisted the urge to give up, you were stretching your soul for greater glory. Heaven wrote beside your name, not perfect, but proven. That word means more than success. It means endurance has finished its work in you. Though the world cannot see it yet, something inside you has shifted. Your patience has deepened. Your peace is rooted in a place no circumstance can reach. You no longer need validation to know you are chosen. The tests trained your eyes to see through eternity's lens. You now recognize that what seemed like loss was refinement, and what looked like silence was a sacred conversation between your soul and God. The archives of heaven are not written in ink, but in obedience. Your story is etched there. Each act of trust, each silent surrender, each decision to stay kind when cruelty surrounded you. Heaven saw it all. The angels who watched your endurance now carry the record of your victories before the throne. You are still standing, and that is proof enough. What was invisible to people has become unforgettable to God, and now the heavens prepare to reveal what was hidden, rewards shaped by endurance, blessings born from ashes. The season of testing closes, and the season of unveiling begins to rise. You remember the moments when quitting felt easier than continuing, the nights when the weight of silence pressed against your chest, and you whispered to heaven, "I can't anymore." Yet even then, something sacred inside you refused to die. The same spirit that raised Christ from the dead held your heart steady when everything else was shaking. You didn't see it, but your surrender became your greatest weapon. When you lifted your hands in exhaustion and said, "Your will, not mine," the test began to turn into testimony. Every time you could have chosen resentment, but chose reverence instead. Heaven wrote beside your name, still standing. When friends disappeared and promises were broken, you didn't harden your heart. You let the pain purify you, not poison you. That's what separates the chosen from the casual. Many worship God for what He gives. Few worship Him when He takes. But you, chosen one, stayed, even when staying cost you comfort. You proved that love is not a transaction, it's transformation. You thought you were being forgotten, but you were being forged. The waiting that tormented you was never wasted. The silence was the fire where gold was refined. You came to the end of yourself, and that's where heaven began. You learned that God doesn't rescue you from every storm. Sometimes He reveals Himself in the middle of it. That realization made you unstoppable. The same wind that was meant to scatter you became the wind that lifted you higher. The Word of God declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 66, verse 10, "For you, God, tested us, you refined us like silver." That is what happened to you. The refining didn't destroy you, it defined you. You now carry a calm that confuses chaos, a peace that intimidates darkness. You are no longer shaped by pain, you are strengthened by it. The tests that were meant to humiliate you have turned into proof that your heart belongs fully to God. Every scar has become a signature of grace. Remember this, faith is not proven in comfort, it's proven in conflict. And you have been proven faithful. You didn't just pass the test, you mastered endurance. You no longer panic when storms rise, because you know that storms cannot drown what God has destined to stand. Your heart has learned to trust even without clarity. That kind of trust moves mountains. It moves heaven. Now, heaven whispers again, the hardest part is over. You endured the midnight of the soul, and dawn has started to break. The fire that once frightened you has become your forge. You no longer pray for an easy path. You pray for a faithful heart. That's the sign of maturity. The evidence that you've grown through the testing. Chosen one. Look back for a moment, not with regret, but with revelation. Every closed door was protection. Every unanswered prayer was preparation. Every heartbreak was a holy lesson. If you could see what heaven sees, you'd thank God for every no that shaped your calling. You didn't fail. You were being positioned. You didn't lose. You were being launched. What was taken from you made space for what heaven is about to place in you. And now, a new declaration is forming in your spirit. You no longer ask, "Why me?" Instead, you say, "Send me." That's the language of the refined. That's the voice of one who has passed through fire and still chosen faith. The world needs voices like yours, steady, scarred, and sanctified. If your spirit recognizes this truth, comment, "I'm still here." Write it not as a statement of survival, but as a declaration of destiny, because you are still here, not by chance, but by divine design. You are living proof that endurance works, that faith stands, that hearts refined by fire cannot be broken again. Heaven smiles upon you, for you did not quit. When quitting looked reasonable, you endured, and endurance has crowned you. You are standing where few ever reach the other side of testing, where wisdom replaces wounds. Every lesson, every loss, every delay now serves your destiny. Nothing was wasted, everything was woven. Your endurance has built spiritual authority. The same faith that survived the storm now commands peace. When you speak, light answers. When you move, darkness retreats. You have become heaven's evidence of perseverance. What you once called weakness has turned into discernment. The tears you shed in silence became oil for others' healing. You carry a compassion that only comes from having been crushed. Now heaven commissions you. Go and strengthen the weary. Speak to the silent. Lift the forgotten. You have passed the test. Your story is no longer pain. It is prophecy fulfilled. There comes a moment when the weight of what you've carried starts to make sense. The nights of confusion begin to reveal their hidden design, and you start to understand that none of it was wasted. The trials that once looked like punishment were actually preparation, carefully arranged by a hand that never stopped guiding you. You see now that what you thought was silence was strategy. God was shaping your spirit while protecting your purpose. The test you passed wasn't just about proving faith. It was about purifying motives. You didn't realize that heaven wasn't waiting for your strength to increase. It was waiting for your surrender to deepen. Each moment, you released control. Something inside you shifted closer to alignment. You stopped begging for answers and started trusting the author. You stopped asking for outcomes and started obeying instructions. That shift, though subtle, is what drew heaven's attention. There is a beauty in obedience that can't be learned through comfort. Obedience refined through pain becomes conviction. You discovered that the true mark of maturity is not how loudly you declare faith when everything goes right, but how quietly you continue to trust when nothing makes sense. The same heart that once trembled now beats with peace. You no longer panic when the path is uncertain, because you know uncertainty is just the space where faith grows. When the world misread you, heaven redefined you. The opinions of others no longer have the power to imprison you, because you've seen what happens when you depend only on God's approval. You stopped explaining yourself to people who couldn't comprehend your calling. You learned to rest in the knowing that God's understanding outweighs every misunderstanding of man. That peace is your new strength. It keeps you steady in storms, anchored when winds rise, grounded when everything else drifts. The ancient words recorded in the book of Job, chapter 23, verse 10, still speak today. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. You, too, have walked that road. You took the unknown path, the one few choose, and you kept walking, even when it felt endless. What emerged from that fire is a heart of gold, tested, tempered, and trustworthy. The pain did not tarnish you, it purified you. What once broke you now blesses you. The very experiences that tried to destroy your hope have built the endurance that defines your character. You have become solid, unshakable, and sincere. The test wasn't about passing or failing, it was about becoming. You became someone who can hold revelation without pride, carry responsibility without fear, and love deeply without expectation. You've learned that power without purity is poison, and that calling without character collapses. Heaven allowed your heart to be stretched so it could be strengthened. Now you walk not in performance, but in purpose. You no longer strive to prove yourself. You simply live from the truth of who you are, chosen, refined, and trusted. Sometimes you still wonder why it had to be so difficult, why every season seemed heavier than the last. Yet, if you look closely, you'll notice something divine in the pattern. With every heavier test came a higher clarity. The more intense the fire, the clearer the gold. God didn't just want to bless you, He wanted to build you. Blessings without foundation crumble, but blessings resting on the bedrock of endurance remain. Now your perspective has changed. You no longer see waiting as wasting. You recognize that time spent in testing is time spent in transformation. Each delay taught you patience. Each disappointment birthed discernment. And each denial deepened your dependence. Those who rush ahead without refinement often burn out. But you, chosen one, you have learned to walk at the pace of grace. There is a quiet strength about you now. You don't need to prove your worth. You carry it. You don't need to fight for attention. You radiate presence. The same people who once doubted you will soon discern what heaven always knew. Your endurance has created evidence that cannot be denied. You are not who you were when the journey began. You are lighter, wiser, stronger, clothed in the dignity of divine approval. The season of testing was heaven's way of building capacity. Now you carry what once crushed you. You have been prepared to lead, not through noise, but through example. Every hidden lesson has become spiritual architecture within you. You have been entrusted with insight that only pain can teach. And though you may not feel extraordinary, heaven calls your endurance holy. You walked through the valley, but you did not come out empty-handed. You came out refined, radiant, and real. Heaven has seen it. And heaven remembers. There is something sacred about endurance. It changes the texture of your soul. You no longer tremble at storms because you've learned how to walk in rain without losing your rhythm. The winds that once shook you now sound like songs of strength. You have discovered that peace is not found in escape, but in trust. Every breath you take after the storm is a quiet declaration. I made it, and I am still becoming. This season feels different, doesn't it? The air around you is lighter, and the silence that once felt empty now feels full of peace, of purpose, of promise. Heaven has seen the way you've grown. You didn't just survive, you matured. The fire that once frightened you has turned into a gentle flame that lights your way forward. The pain that once silenced you has become the very voice heaven now uses to reach others. You are no longer the one searching for signs. Now, you are a sign, a living message of resilience and faith. And in this moment, heaven begins to call you, not just to receive, but to reflect. Not only to be blessed, but to become a blessing. You are the evidence that divine strength can dwell in fragile humanity. The Spirit spoke through the writings of Isaiah. Chapter 61, verse 3. He will give them a crown of beauty for ashes, joy instead of mourning, and praise instead of despair. None. That is what has happened to you. The ashes that once covered you have turned into beauty that others can see. The heaviness that sat on your chest has turned into songs of gratitude. You are the living proof that God can take brokenness and turn it into brilliance. And now, chosen one, heaven places something gentle in your hands, a torch, not a heavy one, but a small light meant to be shared. This message, this community, this stream of encouragement, it exists to carry that same fire to others who are still walking through their own nights. Each word you've heard here has been crafted with prayer, so that it may remind you that you are not alone. That light still reaches even the darkest corners. If what you've received here has strengthened your heart, if it has helped you breathe again, consider helping that light travel further. Think of it not as a demand, but as planting a seed. When you sow into a message that has nourished your spirit, you are helping someone else hear the same voice of hope that once found you. Just as one candle lights another without losing its flame, your small act of generosity can ignite faith in someone who is almost out of light. That is the mystery of giving. It multiplies warmth without reducing your own. Every donation, every offering, every gesture of support becomes a ripple in this river of restoration. Maybe your gift is a prayer, maybe it's a share, a like, or a word of encouragement left in the comments. Or maybe it's something tangible, a small donation that keeps this message flowing across nations, reaching hearts you'll never meet, but heaven will. It's never about the amount, it's about the intention. The purest offerings are the ones given freely, with love, not obligation. When you give, imagine placing a drop of oil into a lamp that never stops burning. That lamp represents the voices being lifted, the hearts being healed, and the hope being reborn through this work. Your oil keeps the flame alive. Your kindness fuels this mission of light. If this voice has touched your soul, pause for a second, press the heart, share this flame, and subscribe so that the light keeps circling the earth. Think of it like releasing a dove into the sky. It may fly beyond your sight, but it will land exactly where someone needs peace. And if your heart whispers to give, do it not as obligation but as worship. Your donation is not currency, it's incense rising upward. A quiet fragrance that heaven recognizes. This space lives because hearts like yours keep it alive. Hearts that understand what it means to pass through pain and still choose love. When you support the light, you become part of it. You help it reach one more soul sitting in silence. One more weary heart waiting for a sign that God still remembers them. If you feel led, follow that gentle nudge. Like, share, subscribe, or donate, not because you must, but because light shared is never lost. Every act keeps the flame burning. Every heart keeps the message alive. Every giver becomes part of the story. Heaven is still writing. Your endurance has turned into empowerment. Your faith into fuel for others. You are proof that light not only survives darkness, it multiplies through it. There are seasons when heaven watches in silence, not because God is far, but because the silence itself becomes a sacred test. You know that feeling well. You have walked through it. You learned how to keep believing when every visible reason to hope had vanished. That kind of faith, quiet, unseen, uncelebrated, is what moves the heart of God more than any loud declaration. You didn't just say you trusted Him. You proved it when there was nothing left to hold on to but His word. You've learned something that many never discover. Faith is not noise. It's posture. It's the stillness that says, I don't understand, but I will stay. That kind of posture terrifies darkness, because the enemy cannot manipulate a surrendered heart. You are no longer shaken by what you see, because you've learned to listen to what you sense. You have learned the language of heaven's stillness. Heaven speaks clearly through the words written in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 2. Remember how the Lord your God led you through the wilderness these 40 years, testing you to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep His commands or not. Those ancient words describe exactly what has unfolded in your journey. The wilderness was not punishment, it was discovery. It revealed your strength, your heart, your loyalty. It showed heaven that your devotion was not dependent on blessings, but rooted in love. You have come through that wilderness with lessons carved into your spirit. You know now that every test carried purpose, that every loss refined your discernment, and that every delay carried divine design. The wilderness built something in you that comfort never could. Clarity. In silence, you learned to recognize God's whisper. In loneliness, you learned to rest in His presence. When no one clapped for your progress, heaven still recorded every step. You thought you were walking alone, but you were being led. The desert was the classroom where dependency was taught, where the noise of the world faded, and the voice of God grew unmistakable. You have emerged from that place lighter, no longer carrying the need for validation, no longer begging for understanding from those who cannot see what God is doing in you. You walk with quiet assurance now. You know that even if no one applauds, heaven approves. That is what freedom feels like. The tests were never designed to break you. They were designed to reveal the strength hidden inside you. Each obstacle refined your obedience. Each heartbreak removed the excess, leaving behind a faith pure and unshakable. You now stand as evidence that wilderness seasons are not the end, they are the preparation for new beginnings. Look at you now. You are not the same person who entered the storm. The eyes that once searched for direction now see with spiritual clarity. The hands that once trembled now carry authority. The heart that once questioned now trusts deeply. What was once weakness has turned into wisdom. You are no longer surviving, you are stewarding. And now, heaven invites you to mark this moment, a spiritual milestone. For those who pass through testing are never the same again. You are being prepared to lead others out of their wilderness because you know the way through it. You have walked it. You have lived it. If this word resonates in your soul, type 555 inches, the comments below. Let it be your declaration that you remember the wilderness, but you no longer live there. That number is not superstition. It's a prophetic symbol of divine transition. 5 is the number of grace, and grace is what carried you through every dry place. Typing it is a way of saying, I have been tested, and I am coming forth refined. Heaven watches when you mark such moments. When you acknowledge what God has done, you open the door for what He is about to do next. Grace is multiplying around you even now. The same God who sustained you in the valley is preparing to reveal you on the mountain. The wilderness was the crucible of your calling, but the promised land will be the platform of your purpose. You are being trusted with more because you proved faithful with little. You are about to see how every trial connects, how every loss was laying the foundation for a life that cannot be shaken. So lift your eyes. Chosen one. The horizon ahead glows with promise. The test was real, but the victory is eternal. You have walked the path of endurance. Now you step into the path of evidence. The world will soon see what heaven has long known. Your heart passed the test. There are moments in the journey when the atmosphere around you begins to shift. You cannot explain it, but something in your spirit senses that heaven is moving closer. It is not loud, it is not dramatic. It feels like the air before dawn still, heavy with promise, waiting to burst into light. You've been through the season of testing, and now the weight of glory begins to approach. You start to notice subtle signs. Your discernment sharpens. The same things that once drained you now roll off your spirit with ease. You no longer chase understanding, you carry peace. That peace is the first sign of transformation, the quiet evidence that you've stepped out of striving and into surrender. The old fears no longer grip you because the fire has already burned away what fear fed on. What remains is purified purpose. There's a calm strength in you now. You no longer need to prove your worth or defend your name. You've learned that vindication belongs to God, and He has already spoken over you, approved, refined, chosen. The weight of glory is not a crown made of gold. It is a mantle woven from obedience. It feels heavy because responsibility and revelation walk hand in hand. According to what is revealed in the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, for our light affliction, which is but for a moment, works for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. That verse echoes like a heartbeat in your spirit. You finally understand that what once seemed unbearable was actually producing something eternal. The trials were momentary, but the transformation is permanent. Heaven has been crafting something in you that this world cannot measure character strong enough to carry calling. You stand now on holy ground, not because your surroundings changed, but because your spirit did. You see through clearer eyes. You have learned that delay is not denial, it is divine timing unfolding with perfect precision. The things you once rushed for, you now wait for with grace. You are no longer desperate for doors to open. You trust that the ones meant for you cannot stay closed. This is the maturity of the chosen, contentment without complacency, patience without passivity. You have discovered the rhythm of rest. that sacred balance between motion and peace. You no longer fight to be seen, you move to be aligned. And in that alignment, heaven begins to pour weight, not to crush you, but to confirm you. The glory of God is not a spotlight, it's a presence. It rests on those who have been emptied of self and filled with surrender. You might feel it now, an invisible heaviness resting on your shoulders, not as a burden, but as an assignment. It's the quiet realization that everything you endured has prepared you to carry more love, more wisdom, more authority. The same hands that once trembled in weakness now carry healing. The same voice that once cried for help now speaks life into others. You have become an instrument of restoration. The glory approaches slowly, intentionally. It does not rush. It settles on those who can honor it. You are one of them. Heaven is entrusting you with influence, but not for fame, for impact. You will touch lives not through grandeur, but through grace. Your scars will speak louder than any sermon. The weight you feel is not punishment, it is privilege. You are walking in what others only dream about, unshakable peace. That peace will draw people who are weary of chaos. They will see your calm and recognize something divine. You won't need to convince them of God's reality. Your presence will do that. Because glory is not shouted, it's sensed. It radiates from those who have walked through fire and still carry light. Every word you speak now carries resonance. Every step you take echoes in unseen realms. You are no longer reacting, you are responding. That shift is the mark of maturity, the evidence that heaven has entrusted you with authority. The weight of glory has begun to rest upon you, not as a reward, but as recognition. And though you feel small under it, remember, the glory of God does not crush it, completes. You are not collapsing, you are being crowned. What once felt like pressure is actually purpose taking form. Heaven does not pour glory where there is pride. And that is why it can finally rest on you. You have been emptied enough to carry it well. This new chapter is quiet, but powerful. It is not about performance, but presence. The weight of glory is not meant to be displayed, it's meant to be lived. You will carry it into conversations, into ordinary rooms, into silent prayers, and everywhere you go. The atmosphere will change. That's how heaven moves through those who have passed the test. There are moments when you become aware that you are not walking alone. The air feels different. The silence hums with unseen life. And something in your spirit whispers, you are being watched, but not by enemies. You sense it, though you cannot explain it. The nearness of angels. They were always there, stationed in the shadows of your journey, guarding, guiding, and recording. Heaven has never left you unattended. When you cried alone, they stood beside you. When you were too weak to pray, they carried your sighs like incense before the throne. You thought no one saw your pain, but heaven's messengers did. They were not sent to rescue you from the fire, but to walk you through it without letting you burn. Every step you took in obedience strengthened their assignment over your life. Every time you refused to give up, their wings stirred with renewed power. You have lived through things that would have broken others, yet somehow you kept moving. That persistence wasn't coincidence, it was reinforcement. The presence you felt when you had nothing left was the whisper of angels reminding you, keep going. Heaven is watching. They moved unseen, clearing paths, shielding you from traps, turning what was meant for harm into hidden help. The voice of God thundered in the book of Psalms. Chapter 91, verse 11. For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. And that promise has followed you like a shadow of light. You were never abandoned, not even for a breath. While your heart broke on earth, heaven stood guard. When your strength failed, angelic hands held the fragments of your courage together until you could rise again. You are here today, not because you were unhurt, but because you were upheld. There were moments when you narrowly escaped danger conversations that could have crushed your confidence, people who could have misled your purpose, opportunities that looked golden but hid a snare. You thought you made those choices alone, but it was guidance from beyond the veil. Angels whispered, "Not that way." They nudged your heart toward safety. Even when you didn't understand the detour, every closed door that protected you had wings behind it. You have walked through storms where logic could not save you. Yet provision appeared out of nowhere, a timely word, an unexpected kindness, a sudden peace. Those were not accidents. They were heaven's coordination, orchestrated by messengers who serve the will of the Father. You may not see them, but you walk within their care. Now that your eyes are opening, you can sense the sacred choreography that has surrounded you all along. Each step of obedience you took created movement in heaven. When you forgave, angels rejoiced. When you prayed for those who hurt you, they carried that prayer like light into places your hands could never reach. Every time you chose mercy over anger, the atmosphere shifted. You are not just living a human life. You are walking within a divine network of unseen grace. There is power in knowing that you are never alone. That truth reshapes the way you see your challenges. When you step into a new day, understand that the same presence that surrounded Daniel in the lion's den walks beside you. The same strength that closed the mouths of beasts silences the whispers of fear. You are guarded not by chance, but by covenant. Sometimes, the proof of angelic presence is peace that makes no sense. You stand in places that once terrified you and find calm instead of chaos. That calm is not your doing, it's theirs. The unseen company still moves around you, quiet but active, fulfilling assignments written before you were born. Heaven's armies do not serve everyone. They serve those who walk in alignment with divine purpose. And you, chosen one, have proven worthy of that trust. Your endurance, your faith, your integrity, they have drawn divine reinforcement. Angels attend to those who carry heaven's assignment because their obedience supports yours. Now you understand why some battles ended before they began, why some attacks never reached you, why you still wake up with hope even after nights of despair. It's because the unseen has been fighting for you. The presence that surrounds you is not imaginary, it's intentional. So walk with awareness. Speak with reverence. Know that when you move, you don't move alone. Heaven's guardians stand, watch, ensuring that what God started in you will not be undone. The unseen realm rejoices each time you rise again. For every victory you live out on earth echoes as music in heaven. You are protected not by luck, but by loyalty, God's loyalty to His promise. Angels have witnessed your tears, and they have also recorded your triumphs. Their wings still stretch over you as you continue forward, carrying the light of one who has been faithfully kept. The accusations were loud, and the shadows tried to make you believe that your integrity was forgotten. Yet heaven remained silent, not because it agreed with the accusations, but because it was waiting for the right moment to unveil the truth. There are times when vindication takes longer than you expect, but when it comes, it arrives like thunder, undeniable, unstoppable, inarguable. You have been misunderstood, misused, and misrepresented, but heaven never confused your silence with guilt. God knew every detail, every motive, every secret battle you chose to fight quietly rather than retaliate. What others called weakness, heaven called wisdom. What they called retreat, heaven called restraint. You stood when slander swirled around your name, when gossip tried to cloud your character, when whispers spread faster than truth, and still, you refused to fight with the same weapons the world uses. You kept your peace while others threw stones. You let heaven defend what only heaven could explain. That is why you are standing now, not broken, but balanced, not bitter, but blessed. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you, in judgment you shall condemn." Those words are not poetry, they are prophecy fulfilled. Every false report that rose against you has lost its breath. The enemy's narrative is collapsing under the weight of truth. The record in heaven now reads, cleared, covered, called. You are walking proof that integrity has its own echo. It may not speak fast, but it speaks forever. The enemy's report failed because you didn't respond with revenge. You trusted the one who sees all, and that trust has turned into testimony. You learned that silence is not weakness, it's strategy. When you refused to fight on the level of lies, heaven elevated you to the realm of peace. Your dignity became your defense. Every rumor that was spoken behind your back only pushed you closer to divine vindication. Every betrayal became a bridge to revelation. You were not being buried, you were being planted. What looked like an end was the soil preparing your next beginning. And now, light begins to expose what was hidden. The truth about you is surfacing, not because you demanded it, but because heaven commanded it. People who once doubted you are beginning to see the fruit of your faith. You didn't chase validation, it followed you. You didn't beg for fairness, God authored it. This is how heaven defends its chosen, not through arguments, but through evidence. You are the evidence. The peace you carry is louder than any rumor. The restoration surrounding you is heaven's rebuttal. The favor now flowing in your life is proof that the accusations were powerless. You don't have to convince anyone. Your results are your response. Vindication doesn't always arrive with applause. Sometimes it comes with quiet doors opening that were once sealed shut. Opportunities start appearing, conversations shift. And those who judged you now feel conviction when they remember your name. You never needed revenge, you only needed time. And time, in God's hands, always reveals the truth. The enemy has been silenced because your endurance spoke louder. Heaven waited until the noise died down, so that when your victory came, no one could mistake its source. You are living in that unveiling now, the season where what was whispered against you is drowned out by what God declares for you. If your spirit feels this truth resonating within you, type "Truth wins." Olu. Say it as a quiet victory. Cry not for the world to hear, but for your soul to agree. When you write it, you're declaring that no lie lasts forever, that God's timing is perfect, and that peace is stronger than proof. Heaven rejoices not only because you are vindicated, but because you stayed kind through it. That is the highest form of victory. You didn't let pain turn you into what hurt you. You remained pure, even when the world was polluted. That is why heaven trusts you with greater things. The enemy's report failed. The truth prevailed. And your integrity has become your inheritance. Let peace be your proof. And let your life continue to speak for you, long after the voices of accusation have faded into silence. Your vindication is not revenge, it is restoration. It is heaven's way of saying, I saw it all, and I kept the record straight. Every injustice has become fertilizer for your favor. This is why peace follows you now. It's heaven's signature on your story. When you type, truth wins, you're not celebrating pride. You're acknowledging grace, the quiet justice that only God can design. There comes a sacred turning point after vindication, a moment when heaven whispers, now, wear the crown. You've carried the weight of waiting, the sting of misunderstanding, and the silence of testing. Now comes the sound of honor. It does not arrive in thunder or applause, but in stillness. It feels like peace settling over your shoulders, like sunlight on skin that once only knew cold. You begin to understand that the real crown is not gold, it's grace. You have been crowned with obedience. The King himself has called you faithful in little, and now he begins to entrust you with much. What was once a seed of faith hidden deep within pain has become a garden of endurance. The soil of your suffering has turned fertile. Now, the fragrance of victory rises from what once felt like failure. Every scar glows with meaning. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, first book, chapter 9, verse 25. They do it to obtain a perishable crown, but we do it for an imperishable one. Those words have become the melody of your spirit. You no longer fear the fight, because love itself fights for you. You are not striving, you are standing. You've learned that victory isn't about noise, it's about endurance. You've discovered that peace can roar louder than any chaos. Even now, you can sense the shift. The last battles before breakthrough often feel the hardest, not because you are losing, but because heaven is stretching your capacity to carry what's next. You've been equipped for this moment. The armor you wear is not made of metal, it's made of memory. Every time you survived, every time you stood back up, every prayer, whispered in pain, became a piece of divine armor that fits you perfectly now. But as the fire of your calling burns brighter, remember this: flames need tending. Light grows dim when neglected. And just as the lamp in the temple was kept alive by the daily offering of oil, your flame too requires care. That's why heaven speaks gently through this message, reminding you what you've received here is not only for you. It's a living current meant to flow through hearts everywhere. If this voice has carried you through your dark nights, keep the flame moving, like this message, not for attention, but as if you're breathing oxygen into a shared fire. Every like is a spark that helps this light travel farther. Share it as you would pass a candle to another pilgrim still walking in the fog. What you send forward might be the only light someone sees tonight. And if this word stirs something deep inside, leave a few words below. Your reflection might be the flame that warms another heart. Subscribe if you wish to remain within this circle of warmth, so that each new word from heaven finds you without searching. It is not just connection, it is communion. And if your heart whispers to give, Follow that whisper. Think of giving not as loss, but as the planting of light. When you sow into what nourishes your soul, you are helping unseen hands reach unseen hearts. Your offering becomes oil fuel that keeps this lamp burning across time zones and languages. You may never see the faces it reaches, but heaven will show you one day what your kindness sustained. Your donation is not a transaction, it's a translation of gratitude. It turns thankfulness into movement, love into motion. It's like adding another brick to a lighthouse built by many hands, guiding ships you'll never sail on safely to shore. No one is required to give. It's simply the invitation of beauty, the chance to join in the quiet miracle of keeping light alive. Every gesture matters. Every small act keeps the current flowing. The kingdom of heaven is sustained by hearts that choose love freely. When you engage, when you give, when you share, you're not fueling content, you're fueling connection. You are helping heaven whisper to someone else. You are not forgotten. So if your spirit feels that tug, respond gently. Like, share, comment, subscribe, give. Do it not from duty, but from delight. The same way stars shine, not because they must, but because it's in their nature. Let it be natural, effortless, luminous. You are now part of a greater light that stretches beyond borders. And as you help keep it alive, you will find that the same light that shines through you also sustains you. For in heaven's design, the giver and the flame are never separate. They burn together. There comes a day when all the threads begin to weave together, and what once seemed random starts to reveal its design. Every unanswered question, every closed door, every delayed promise suddenly forms a pattern. You look back and realize nothing was wasted. Every path you took, every valley you crossed, every silent night had a purpose. This is the great unveiling, the moment when heaven shows you what it was building inside you all along. You see now that the detours were not punishment, but protection. The waiting didn't hold you back. It held you in place until you were strong enough to stand without collapsing under the blessing. There were things you begged for that would have crushed you if given too soon. Heaven never said no to your destiny. It simply said, not yet. Now the timing aligns. And suddenly, what once hurt begins to make sense. The wisdom you carry didn't come from ease. It was born through endurance. You see through eyes that have cried and healed. The heart that once broke has become a compass. You recognize danger faster now. You sense truth more deeply. Pain sharpened your discernment until you could tell the difference between almost right and truly divine. This clarity is not coincidence, it is the fruit of refinement. As the Word of God declares in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 37, in all these things we are more than conquerors through Him who loved us. That imperishable crown is not placed on your head by human hands. It is formed by moments of surrender, by choices to stay kind, by prayers whispered through tears. It shines in quiet integrity, in steadfast peace, in unshakable faith. You wear it every time you choose. Forgiveness over fury, service over self, and truth over approval. This new chapter carries responsibility. Crowns are not decorations, they are callings. Heaven places them on those who have learned to lead with humility. You are now being trusted to be light for others, to remind the weary that glory is born in hidden places. You are the living reminder that faith, when tested, becomes unbreakable, and as this message finds you, let your heart stay open. Every word you receive here, every story of transformation, is part of something bigger, a current of light that moves through countless lives. Some people stumble upon this voice in their darkest hour, and it becomes the spark that helps them breathe again. That is why this stream of messages continues, because hearts like yours keep it alive. If this message touches you, pause and let gratitude speak. Like it not as routine, but as recognition. Every click is like lighting a candle in a cathedral of hope. Share it not for numbers, but for souls. When you share, it's as if you're handing someone a lantern in the middle of their night. Subscribe if this flow of light has strengthened your spirit, so that the river of encouragement can keep reaching you without interruption. And if your heart whispers to go further, to give, to sustain, to pour back into what has poured into you, then listen to that whisper. Think of it not as donation, but as participation. Your giving is like planting a tree in soil you've already rested under. It ensures that someone else will one day find shade there too. Some plant with words, others with time, and a few with resources. All are sacred when done in love. Whatever form your gratitude takes, it carries eternal weight. Because generosity is worship, disguised as kindness. No one is asked to give by force. The invitation is simply to keep the flame alive. When you give even a little, it's like placing a drop of water into an endless well. You will never see the full reach of it, but heaven measures every drop. Your kindness becomes momentum for hope, carrying light into places you will never visit, but will one day recognize in eternity's reflection. And if all you can offer is your attention, your prayer, your presence, that, too, is holy. The kingdom moves not through demand, but through devotion. Your support is not payment, it's partnership. It's standing hand in hand with those who believe that love still heals, that faith still saves, and that truth still breathes in the darkest corners. So, as you hear these words, let your spirit breathe gratitude. Like, share, subscribe, or give, not because it's asked, but because your heart says, I've received something sacred, and I want it to live beyond me. That is the purest form of offering. Crowns do not shine by being polished. They shine when they reflect light. You, chosen one, are now that reflection. The King has crowned your endurance, and through you, He continues to touch the world, one act of generosity, one spark of faith, one heartbeat of obedience at a time. And as you walk forward, remember, every act of kindness keeps heaven's light moving. You are not just wearing a crown, you are carrying a flame that will never fade. There comes a time when the crown you carry begins to change how you see everything around you. You no longer chase recognition, because you finally understand that authority is not about being seen, it is about being steady. The one who has walked through fire does not need applause. Their silence already speaks of survival. You move now with quiet assurance, aware that the same God who crowned you also walks with you. The world begins to look different when you realize that your steps are guided by more than chance. Even your pauses carry purpose. The detours that once frustrated you now feel like divine choreography. You can sense that every turn has been calculated, every delay has been redeemed. You are walking on a path that was prepared before your first breath. The one who sent you has gone before you, And nothing, no word, no weapon, no storm can cancel what he has ordained. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 27, "My sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me." Oh, you have learned that following his voice does not always mean understanding his ways. Sometimes the path is narrow, winding through places you would not have chosen, but even there, peace follows. The sound of his voice has become your compass, the whisper that steadies you when logic fails. You have learned to listen, not just with ears, but with heart. Now your life carries weight, not because of what you own, but because of what you've overcome. The crown you wear is invisible, but its gravity is real. It pulls you toward purpose, toward people who need the wisdom your pain produced. You have become a vessel of empathy. Your words now heal, not because they are perfect, but because they are born from experience. You no longer speak to impress, you speak to restore. There is a dignity in your spirit that cannot be counterfeited. Those who meet you may not understand why they feel peace in your presence, but it is because you carry the residue of heaven. You've learned to walk slowly, to speak carefully, to love deeply. Each moment feels sacred now, as if every breath could shift eternity. That awareness has changed you. You don't rush into arguments anymore. You recognize that peace is more powerful than proving a point. You don't chase opportunities, they find you. The atmosphere around you responds to your alignment. What once intimidated you now bows quietly to the authority you carry. This is what divine maturity looks like, not dominance, but discernment, not control, but confidence rooted in surrender. And though you walk softly, heaven knows your strength. You've become someone who can be trusted with influence, not because you seek it, but because you no longer need it. You carry influence the way rivers carry reflection effortlessly. Those who look into your life see the image of something greater than you. You have become a mirror of mercy. Your steps now echo with purpose. Every act of kindness, every word spoken in love, becomes part of heaven's work on earth. The authority you carry is not loud, it's luminous. It moves through compassion, through prayer, through the quiet conviction that love is still stronger than fear. The crown of obedience has changed you from the inside out. It has taught you that leadership is not about control, but care. You lead by listening, by showing up, by keeping your heart clean when the world grows cruel. You have become the kind of person who can walk into broken spaces and bring order without effort. That is the true mark of divine authority. Even when no one notices your efforts, heaven does. The crown you wear shines brightest in secret service, in the unseen kindness, the silent forgiveness, the unannounced generosity. The reward is not recognition but revelation, the joy of knowing you are aligned with heaven's heartbeat. So you keep walking, not because the path is easy, but because you know the one who leads. Every step forward is worship now. Every challenge becomes another chance to show that your faith is not fragile, it's forged. The crown does not make you greater than others. It reminds you to lift others higher. That is the language of those who have been refined. The world may never know the full story behind your strength, but heaven does. You have become an anchor in a drifting age, a steady flame in uncertain winds. The crown you wear is not decoration, it's destiny. And as long as you keep walking in humility, it will never fade. There is a rhythm that follows every season of elevation, a stillness before new instructions arrive. You've passed the test, worn the crown, carried the light, and now heaven begins to whisper again. It is not a shout this time, it is a nudge, a gentle stirring in your soul that says, "Now, go forward differently." Every chosen one reaches this moment, the point where yesterday's obedience becomes tomorrow's direction. You begin to feel it before you hear it. The same spirit that once comforted you in pain now stirs you toward purpose. You no longer wait to be rescued, you wait to be released. The wilderness was your preparation. The crown was your confirmation. And now, instruction becomes your next invitation. Heaven doesn't just want you to carry peace, it wants you to become a conduit of it. You sense a shift in your calling. The words that once healed you are now meant to heal others. The same faith that sustained you is about to flow through you. You realize that your story is no longer just survival, it's strategy. What once looked like loss has become your greatest language. You are ready now, not because you feel strong, but because your heart has learned surrender. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 1, verse 9. Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth and said, "I have put my words in your mouth." Now, that is what heaven is doing with you now. God is touching your words, your work, your walk. He is turning your testimony into a tool, your waiting into wisdom, your pain into prophecy. You no longer carry wounds, you carry weapons of light. What once silenced you will now strengthen your message. But hear this clearly before God sends a chosen one forward. He checks the posture of their heart. That's why you've been hidden again lately. Not forgotten, but focused. He is fine-tuning your discernment, reminding you to move from compassion, not compulsion. This next season is not about striving, it's about stewardship. Heaven does not need more noise, it needs more truth delivered with tenderness. And you are being trained for that. This is why your atmosphere has changed. Old patterns no longer fit. You find yourself drawn to stillness, to listening, to clarity. It's not withdrawal, it's recalibration. You are learning to hear not just what God says, but how He says it. And when you move from that place of intimacy, everything you do carries power. Heaven is giving you new instructions. They may come as whispers in prayer, visions in rest, or sudden peace when you least expect it. Pay attention. Your spirit will recognize the sound of divine strategy. Some steps will look small, but they will unlock doors you didn't know existed. Some words you speak will ripple further than you can see. Every act of obedience in this season will multiply. You've been faithful in your refining. Now be fearless in your release. Heaven has not crowned you to sit in silence, but to speak with purpose. When you walk into new places, remember, you carry authority that was born in affliction. The same God who trained you in the valley will speak through you on the mountain. If this message resonates deeply in your spirit, type 333 inches, the comments below. It's not a number for luck, it's a prophetic sign of divine alignment. 3 represents the fullness of completion. Father, Son, and Spirit. It means heaven's order is settling over your next steps. When you write it, you're declaring, I am ready for new instructions. I move in divine rhythm. Let this act anchor your faith. You are not walking into uncertainty, you are stepping into orchestration. Heaven has already composed the melody. You're simply learning the harmony. Ach, Stepp. each word, each decision becomes part of a song that glorifies the one who chose you. And as you move forward, remember, obedience is not obligation, it's partnership. You are not serving a distant God. You are walking with a present one. You are being led, not pushed. The same voice that called you out of darkness now calls you into destiny. This new chapter will not require you to strive, only to stay sensitive. Listen when heaven whispers, move when peace confirms, rest when grace pauses. This is how chosen ones walk, not by pressure, but by presence. You are stepping into precision now. Every word will carry weight. Every gesture will hold grace. Every movement will mirror heaven. Type 333 and let that number seal your alignment, your declaration that you are ready to follow divine instruction without fear, without delay, and without doubt. The journey continues, and heaven is already ahead of you. The same hands that tested your heart now guide your steps. The next chapter is not waiting for you to arrive, it's waiting for you to obey. There is a quiet moment after instruction when heaven watches how you carry what you've been given. The mantle of influence is not handed to the proud or the hurried. It rests upon those who have been emptied enough to hold it without breaking. You feel it now, don't you? A new weight resting upon your shoulders, not of burden, but of responsibility. This is not about fame, it's about faithfulness. Influence in heaven's language means impact without noise, presence without pride. The mantle does not arrive as a crown or a title, it arrives as sensitivity. It's the sudden awareness that your words matter, that your choices ripple beyond you, that your reactions can awaken or wound those who follow your light. You begin to speak slower, love deeper, and listen longer. You realize that every step you take now carries others with it. Heaven has entrusted you not with a platform, but with people. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 78, verse 72. And David shepherded them with integrity of heart. With skillful hands he led them. That verse is the pattern of your calling. Leadership in heaven's kingdom begins with heart, not hierarchy. The integrity you kept in the shadows is now the strength that guides in the light. Your hands have been trained by hardship, and your heart has been purified by pain. That combination makes you dangerous to darkness. You no longer lead for recognition, you lead from revelation. The mantle of influence doesn't demand attention, it attracts transformation. Those around you begin to change, not because you instruct them, but because your peace teaches louder than your words. You've learned that influence is not manipulation, it's reflection. You simply mirror the one who sent you. And in doing so, lives start to shift. You carry an atmosphere now when you walk into a room. Chaos finds its boundary, and hearts begin to steady. It's humbling, isn't it, to know that heaven trusts you with this? There was a time when you doubted your worth, when you wondered if your voice mattered at all. But every trial you endured was heaven preparing your tone, shaping your empathy, and refining your authority. The pain gave you perspective, the waiting gave you wisdom. Now, when you speak, people don't just hear your voice, they feel your journey. Influence, as heaven defines it, is stewardship of presence. It's walking into places and leaving traces of peace behind. It's standing firm in storms without spreading fear. It's giving hope without needing control. The mantle does not make you above anyone, it roots you deeper among them. You are called to be a bridge, not a throne. Sometimes, this kind of calling feels heavy because it costs visibility. You won't always be understood. You'll lead in silence more than in speech. But even that is part of the design. The strongest leaders are often hidden until heaven decides the moment of unveiling. When you influence through example, your life becomes a message others can trust. You no longer need to prove your value through volume. You lead now through vibration, the quiet resonance of authenticity. Your words carry weight because they come from wounds that healed well. You don't preach perfection, you embody progress. That is what draws people, not charisma, but consistency. You've also learned that influence is not always about leading multitudes. Sometimes it's about guiding one soul at a time. Heaven measures impact in obedience, not audience. The unseen kindness you show, the whispered prayer for a stranger, the patience you extend to someone ungrateful, all of it counts as leadership in the kingdom. You are shepherding quietly, but effectively, and through it all, humility remains your anchor. You know that the mantle can only stay where pride cannot breathe. Every time you're tempted to take credit, you remember who gave you the grace. Every time people praise you, you redirect the glory upward. This is why the mantle remains. It rests safely on shoulders that bow. Influence in this form doesn't burn out, it burns within. It's not powered by ambition, but by alignment. You are no longer striving to make things happen, you are allowing things to flow through you. The mantle has turned your life into a conduit. Heaven speaks, and you respond. The Spirit moves, and you follow. That is the secret rhythm of divine influence. So, walk with awareness, but without fear. You are carrying something sacred now, the trust of heaven, the hope of others, the legacy of faithfulness. Every gesture you make ripples through eternity. The mantle is not just over you, it's alive within you. Let it shine quietly. Let it lead gently. And let it always point back to the one who chose you for this path. There is a softness that grows inside the hearts of those who have carried the weight of divine influence. The longer you walk with heaven's mantle, the more you realize it was never meant to make you powerful, it was meant to make you compassionate. You begin to notice pain differently. You can sense the hidden ache in others, even when they smile. The same hands that once trembled under testing now reach out to heal. This is the quiet evolution of the chosen. Authority turns into empathy. You understand now that the authority of heaven flows through tenderness, not dominance. The more God trusts you, the gentler your spirit becomes. You no longer rush to correct. You pause to understand. You listen longer, love deeper, and forgive faster. That's because you know what it feels like to be broken, and you remember the grace that held you together when everything else fell apart. The experiences that once wounded you have become sacred tools of healing. It was proclaimed in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 4. He comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort others with the same comfort we ourselves have received from God. You've become that comfort. Every word you speak now carries residue from the mercy that mended you. Your heart has become a refuge for those still wandering in the storm. You don't need titles to heal. Your presence itself restores balance. The warmth that others feel when they're near you isn't something you created. It's the overflow of the comfort you once received. You no longer fear the memory of your pain. You use it. It has turned into oil pure, fragrant, and rare. You pour that oil into others through kindness, through empathy, through simply showing up. The moments when you thought you had nothing left have become the very moments that now empower you to give. Heaven recycles everything. Not a single tear was wasted. Now you move with a quiet purpose. You've learned that healing isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just being present, sitting with someone who's hurting, praying for someone who will never know your name, holding space for others the way heaven held space for you. You have become an extension of divine patience. You do not force others to change. You simply stay long enough for love to do the work. And slowly, miracles unfold, not the kind that shake the sky, but the kind that soften hearts. You see reconciliation where there was resentment, courage where there was fear, forgiveness where there was bitterness. You begin to realize that this is the greatest calling of all, not to perform wonders, but to embody them, to become the living evidence that grace still works, that restoration is still real. There are moments when your own heart feels heavy again, when compassion turns into exhaustion. That's when heaven whispers, rest. Even healers need healing. You've learned to retreat, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. You rest not to escape people, but to refill for them. The one who pours must also drink. You return to prayer, to stillness, to silence not as escape, but as renewal. This rhythm keeps you alive, giving and receiving, pouring and refilling. You now understand that balance is not selfishness, it's stewardship. You can't pour what you don't possess, and heaven keeps filling you. Because you've proven that what flows into you will always flow through you. The lives you've touched may never fully express their gratitude, but heaven has kept count. Every heart that healed because of your kindness is recorded in the archives of eternity. You won't see all the ripples you've made, but one day you'll stand in eternity and witness how far your love traveled. For now, keep walking in gentleness. Your compassion has become your weapon. Your empathy has become your authority. You are no longer trying to fix everyone. You're helping them find the same grace that found you. That is the purest form of ministry, not performance, but presence, not instruction, but incarnation. You were once the wounded, now you are the healer. You were once the one seeking comfort, now you are the comfort given. This is how heaven redeems stories, not by erasing scars, but by turning them into light. Every healed wound on you now glows as evidence that pain can become purpose, and that even broken hearts can beat with divine rhythm again. You no longer hide your scars, you honor them. They are proof that grace rebuilt what pain tried to destroy, and that love never leaves anything unrepaired. Through you, heaven reminds the broken that healing is possible. Every breath you take now becomes a quiet sermon, proof that restoration is not theory but testimony. You can feel it in the air, the resistance rising again. Every time light begins to expand, darkness grows restless. It knows what you carry now, peace that cannot be purchased, strength that cannot be shaken. You are no longer the wounded soul searching for direction. You are the steady flame reminding others that dawn is worth waiting for. Still, darkness does not give up easily. It will try once more, whispering old doubts in new disguises. But you have changed. You've learned that resistance is not a sign of failure. It's confirmation that growth is taking place. The enemy does not fight what does not threaten him. The very reason you feel the pressure again is because heaven has enlarged your territory. You are walking on ground that was once forbidden to you. The storms that once terrified you now recognize your authority. As was written in the book of Genesis, chapter 50, verse 20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Those words echo through your story. What was meant to destroy you became the very tool God used to develop you. Every betrayal birthed wisdom. Every disappointment built discernment. Every heartbreak expanded compassion. The things that once felt like endings were actually introductions to deeper peace, greater maturity, and stronger faith. You can finally breathe and say, "I understand now." This unveiling is not just revelation, it's release. You no longer carry the weight of needing to figure it all out. You can let go of the questions that haunted you, because you've seen enough of the pattern to trust the artist. God's design was never chaotic, it was complex. And now that you've stepped far enough back to see it, the beauty takes your breath away. The very pain that once blurred your vision has become the lens through which you now see truth. You understand others differently. You listen without judging, comfort without preaching, love without condition. You used to think wisdom was knowledge, but now you know it's compassion wrapped in understanding. You've become someone who doesn't just carry light, you reflect it. The unveiling also reveals you to yourself. You no longer feel the need to compete or compare, because you finally recognize your own lane. What God wrote for you cannot be erased by anyone else's opinion. The people who left, the seasons that ended, the moments that confused you, all of them were part of refining your focus. You are not behind, you are precisely on time. Heaven's calendar runs differently, and you've learned to rest in that rhythm. Sometimes, the unveiling comes quietly. It's not a trumpet blast, it's the peace that meets you in an ordinary morning. When you realize the ache inside you has gone, it's the stillness after the storm. When you see that you survived and even thrived, it's that deep knowing that you are exactly where you're meant to be, doing exactly what you were designed to do. This understanding does not make you proud, it makes you humble. You realize that all along, you were being carried, even in your rebellion. Grace pursued you, even in your weakness. Mercy guarded you. The unveiling is less about arrival and more about recognition, seeing the fingerprints of God all over your story. And now, you walk differently, not faster, not louder, but lighter. You carry wisdom without bitterness, purpose without pressure, and faith without fear. You've learned that understanding doesn't require control, it requires trust. The unveiling has shown you that every delay was a seed, every tear was rain, and every test was a thread in a tapestry that only heaven could weave. You are no longer wondering why. You are living in the answer. The divine design that once seemed hidden now glows through every part of your life, proof that heaven wastes nothing and that purpose always arrives on time. You now walk with quiet gratitude, aware that every scar became a story, every delay a doorway. What once confused you now crowns you with clarity. The great unveiling is not the end, it's the beginning of awareness. You no longer question the path, you trust the purpose that paved it. There are moments when heaven pauses, and everything within creation seems to bow. You feel it in your spirit, a stillness, a wait, a whisper of completion. You have reached the place few ever see, the space between tested and trusted. This is the moment heaven stands to applaud. It's not a loud celebration, but a sacred one. The sound is softer than thunder, but deeper than music, the resonance of divine approval. Heaven's standing ovation is not for your perfection, but for your perseverance. You have endured, learned, healed, and transformed. What once broke you has become your foundation. The tests that once terrified you now testify for you. Heaven does not forget those who remain faithful in the fire. Every act of obedience, every tear of surrender, every choice to forgive has become an anthem that rises before the throne. You have not merely survived, you have transcended. We are reminded in the book of Timothy, second letter, chapter 4, verse 7, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Those words now rest over your life. You have fought not with anger, but with endurance. You have finished not by force, but by faith. The same God who started this work in you has now brought it to a sacred still point, where completion meets continuation. The race is not over, but the hardest lap has been run. Heaven celebrates not because you were flawless, but because you refused to quit. Angels who once guarded your nights now rejoice in your daylight. The Father, who once tested your heart in silence, now speaks affirmation in fullness. You did well. You stayed faithful. You learned to love. That is the highest victory, to remain gentle in a world that tried to harden you. You are standing in the light of divine favor now, and it feels different. It is not pride, it is peace. You realize that victory is not loud, it is calm. True success in heaven's language is the ability to remain pure when life offers you every reason not to be. You passed the test because you let love remain. There were seasons when you wondered if it was all worth it. The lonely nights, the endless prayers, the waiting that wore you thin. But heaven now shows you what it saw all along. Every unseen moment was holy. The times you whispered yes when no one was watching became building blocks of eternity. You were not walking through random pain. You were walking through sacred preparation. The courts of heaven have recorded your journey. The same angels that witnessed your suffering now proclaim your story as testimony. In the unseen realm, your name is spoken with honor, not because you conquered others, but because you conquered yourself. You overcame fear, pride, bitterness, and doubt. You let patience finish its work until you became whole. This is heaven's standing ovation, not thunderous applause, but radiant acknowledgement. The universe itself shifts when a chosen one completes the test with a pure heart. You are part of that cosmic echo now, a sound that says, faith still wins, love still reigns, and endurance still matters. Look around you, not at the world, but within your spirit. You can feel it, can't you? The peace that surpasses understanding. The assurance that the story is not ending, it's evolving. This chapter closes, but the call continues. Heaven applauds, and then it sends you forward again. This time not as a student, but as a steward. You will carry this light differently now. No more striving, no more proving, just walking steady, sure, surrendered it. Your steps have become the melody of grace itself. People will feel peace when you enter, not because you speak of heaven, but because you carry its atmosphere. Every lesson, every wound, every breakthrough has built this version of you. the one heaven always saw. You are not who you were, you are who you were meant to be. The test is complete, the approval eternal, and the glory shared. Heaven's standing ovation still echoes. It doesn't fade, it follows. Everywhere you go, grace will go with you. The same presence that tested you now travels through you. You are no longer simply chosen, you are commissioned. You walk not as one who survived, but as one who shines. The applause of heaven never truly ends. It becomes the rhythm of your steps. Every breath you take now echoes. Well done, faithful heart. Well done. You are light wrapped in flesh, love walking among the weary. The test is over, but the testimony lives on, glory moving quietly through you. And now, as the final words settle in your spirit, take a breath. You have walked through fire, through silence, through revelation, and you have come out radiant. This isn't a goodbye, it's a beginning. What has awakened in you here will continue to grow long after the screen fades. Heaven's story through you is far from finished. You carry something rare now, a quiet strength, a knowing peace, a light that does not flicker when the world grows dark. If these words have stirred your soul, let your response be a ripple of gratitude. Like this message, not as routine, but as recognition, a small flame added to a larger fire. Every spark of acknowledgement keeps warmth flowing farther. Share it as you would release a lantern into the night sky, trusting that it will find someone waiting in shadow for a sign of light. If your heart found meaning here, write a few words below. Your reflection may become the match that lights another soul's courage. Each comment forms another constellation of hope across this space. Subscribe if you wish, to remain in this quiet current of grace, a stream where every new message is a drop of living water, reminding you that you are never forgotten. And if your spirit feels led to give, let it be a gentle act of worship, not obligation. Think of it as pouring a drop of oil into a lamp that keeps countless hearts from going dark. You are not funding words, you are fueling warmth. Every gift, prayer, and gesture becomes another heartbeat in this living light. So, walk forward now with open hands and steady peace. Carry what you've received, and let it multiply through kindness. The flame continues through you, through us, through love.